Today I'm replacing glass windows in my boat with polycarbonate. It's a plastic material. It's similar to acrylic, except it's doesn't shatter, doesn't break. You can use regular tools. And this is it right here. I already cut it and put it in place to see if it fits. This is also referred to as bulletproof glass, and the reason I chose this over acrylic is acrylic, when you try to drill it, it'll crack, and it's very difficult to saw. If you use a jigsaw, it'll actually melt behind the saw blade back together. I've had that problem. So with polycarbonate, you can use any tools, and no special tools are required. And it's extremely strong. And one of the problems with acrylic is that over time in the sun it breaks down just like regular plastic does. And I've literally seen people push their finger through a window on a boat that's made out of acrylic that's maybe 10-15 years old. This should last a very long time. The benefits of acrylic is if you scratch it, and minor scratches, you can buff it out. Unfortunately, with polycarbonate you cannot do that. So you got to be extremely careful. Don't want to really clean it, even touch it, if you can avoid it, and just rinse it off. And so yesterday I went ahead and removed the glass that was in here, and it broke into pieces because I had embedded this with a material called butyl tape. And it's really sticky. It's that black stuff you see around the window there. And this was the glass that I took out. You can see it's all broken up, and you can also see that this is not safe for an ocean-going boat. Glass just doesn't do well. Your boat can sink if you get knocked over in a big wave and your window breaks. I'm going to go ahead and embed this, and we'll see how it goes. I've done 3 of them already, and this is the last one. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little slight sanding with my very small belt sander. It's only like maybe 1/4 inch or a little wider than that. Between 1/4 and a 1/2 inch wide belt. This thing's great. You can get into really tight spots with it. So I'm just going to clean a little of this gooey stuff off and just slightly sand it. Actually, I really don't even need to clean it off because it's stuck so well. I had rebedded the glass just about 2 years ago, and I was building new frames out of teak trim that was around this boat like this. I had a lot of rainwater leaks, so I went ahead and I had to refiberglass the entire cabin, and it was really quite a job. Unfortunately, the boat manufacturer put fiberglass cloth right to here, had a seam right there, and then there's fiberglass cloth going down. Fiberglass cloth really doesn't do a whole lot. And then they put trim over the seam. Well, unfortunately, water gets behind the teak and it leaks into the boat. So I had leaks, especially on these corners, and started to get a little dry rot on the other side, and I had to fix this. I've seen boats like this. This is a Formosa 41, built in 1975 in Taipei, Taiwan, and they're great boats. The hull's 3-inch thick solid fiberglass. They don't delaminate, they don't blister. This thing's awesome. The only problem is they built the cabin out of plywood, which was not the best quality, and it had a lot of leaks. And so these boats are known as leaky tikis because they leak so much. And I've seen a lot of boats like this that the whole cabin was rotted, And I've seen some people on YouTube trying to fix it, and what a nightmare. I mean, they had to basically just tear everything out and redo it. So luckily this was still in pretty good shape, so I was able to fiberglass it. So I laid up 2 layers of 1.5 ounce chopped strand matte glass. The first layer, I literally stapled it to the hull every 3 inches as a stainless steel staple, so it'll never come loose. And then I covered it with a second layer, and then I applied gel coat, which is this white. I still have to apply the non-skid deck, which will be probably a light tan color, kind of maybe beach sand or something similar. So at any rate, let's get started. Now I'm just going to lightly go over this. I'm probably going to end up leaving a lot of this on here because it's stuck on there so good it ain't going to come off. And when I put more butyl tape on here, it'll stick to this. And I got so much overlay now. There used to be quarter, or actually half round, which is was made out of teak, and it was sawn in half. So it's like a wooden dowel sawn in half, and it went around, and it was it barely overlapped the glass in the boat, so it was not real watertight. This here is a lot wider, and this I made from, like I said, from the trim that was around the top of the boat and around the bottom. And as you can see, it overlaps quite a lot. So the 3 that I've done already have not leaked yet, and it's been all winter, and it, you know, we had quite a bit of rain, not a lot, and I don't think it'll ever leak. I mean, for years. Butyl tape is what they used to put car windshields in, front and back windshields, so it's similar, and it works really well. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in to keep the dust out of my boat. I'm just going to go real light around the edges. Okay, now I'm going to go lightly just around the inside. I don't think I need to do much there. But I'm basically just trying to clean it a little and get any little high spots, the butyl tape that was left over. Like I said, this stuff is stuck on there. It ain't coming off. And when I put the new butyl tape on, it's going to stick right to it. So I'm just going to lightly go over this to make sure that it's flat, like here and right here. Just lightly. You don't want to make it uneven. You want to keep it level and flat. Another problem I had was when I took the glass out, the original glass, rebedded it, put it in, and then I fiberglassed the cabin. I actually kind of overlapped a little bit over the glass, so I have a little ridge right here, a little on the sides, a little on the bottom, and I think I'm going to go ahead and remove that, because when I go to put the butyl tape in, I'm going to want to be able to put, you can take butyl tape and roll it into like a rope, and I'm going to put it in around the glass too, so I'm going to have to remove that lip, so I'm going to use my Dremel tool to do that. Okay, it's time for an unboxing. Here you go. This is butyl tape. Real exciting stuff. So this is 2-inch wide, It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. I don't even think it's that thick, more like a 1/16. And this is it right there, real sticky stuff. It never dries. This is what they use around car windshields, front and back. And how many car windshields have you ever seen leak? They don't leak. Extremely rare. So this is good stuff. I use this on everything. I use it on bolts, bolt holes, any through deck or through hole fittings. I even used it on my chimney for my smokestack for my fireplace, my wood stove that I have on board. And it didn't leak at all. And I don't ever recommend using silicone on a boat ever. Problem with silicone is it breaks down, it'll leak, then you go to clean it, it's almost impossible to clean off, it'll leave a residue, and when you go to put more silicone around the window or whatever that you've removed silicone before, that residue, the silicone won't even stick to it. So this is the way to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and cut it to fit on my trim, my cheek. Just rolls out. You can get this in different widths and different colors. This just happened to be what they had, and it worked out perfect for me. So basically, I'm just gonna pull this out of here. It's my little workbench. Actually, I made this thing so I can hold rolls of fiberglass fabric and pull the fiberglass out, the sheets out, and cut them. So this is upside down. And it makes a nice little workbench. Okay, now I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. Right here. Now I like to take the straightest edge and line it up with one of these edges. That way I don't have to trim all the way around. Looks like the bottom's straight, the top's not as much, so I'll go ahead and line up with the bottom. And then I just push it down. Stick it. So now it's stuck like that. Okay, now I just trim around it, and this one will be ready to go. All right, this is ready. So now I do the same thing to the other 3 pieces. One more. Okay. I kind of like working in warm temperatures with this. I know sometimes guys that put wind shields in like to do it in the shade, but I'm going to be kind of making it stick in a kind of a right angle when I put it into the window. So I'm going to put some of this in the window, and I want to make sure it sticks really good because it'll kind of want to straighten back out. So I'm just going to leave that in the sun, and I'll have to cut some pieces to fit, so I'll have to measure. I'm going to use this piece of aluminum to go across the bottom of the door, and I use this for straight edge and all kinds of things. So I'm just going to use my little orange pen here and mark the length that I need so I can cut the butyl tape to fit in here. I'm going to take the butyl tape. I'm going to leave it's like wax paper on one side and sticky on the other. And I'm going to start putting in here. Try to line it up. So now I'm just going to push it on like that for now. This works best when it's warm. It sticks better. Do this when it's cold and it'll fall off and you have a hard time with it. Okay, now got a little trick here. Take the piece of polycarbonate that I already cut, glass, the window. I'm going to stick it in here and push on it. And just push it in. And just go around the edges, pushing it in. Okay, this is in there pretty good. But I can see I'll probably end up cutting some of this off around the edges here. If it's flush with the pieces I'm putting on, then I won't have to, but I don't know yet. We'll have to see what we get when we pull it off. Okay, so what I do now, I'm gonna pull this out. Again, should leave this in the shade because I let this sit in the sun, one of them, and when I went to pull this paper off, it was a sticky mess. And you do not want to have to clean this stuff because it scratches so easy. So, all right, now we're going to pull this part of the tape off. Try to fix any spots that are lined up good. Everything's tight, so it won't leak. Okay, now just start peeling this off. Hopefully not pulling butyl tape loose. Kind of difficult because of this bend in it. Take it off like that. Now there are other products. I think 3M makes the double-sided tape that you can do this with, but this butyl tape is just wonderful stuff. I mean, it will really, it'll last forever. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to peel the paper off one side but leave it on the other. So I want it peeled on the inside and I want it left on the outside so I can push on it and not scratch it. So this is what I do next. Hopefully this will peel off okay. Hello.
What are you doing with that, with your tripod, your camera?
I'm making.
I'm being nosy.
Yeah, I'm making a video.
Oh, cool. That's good. Video.
Ask him what kind.
None of your none of your business. I love my neighbors. Okay. This paper is removed from one side and still have paper on the other side. So the paper side out, we're going to put this in, push on it. It's like to start at the bottom because of gravity. Just get it in there where it needs to go and push it on up. Maybe push it down a little bit so it goes in easier. And there you go, just like that. And it's in. I cut off the excess all the way around on the outer edge, and I need to peel the paper off, but I want to fill these areas in first. I'm just going to use some leftover scrap and just fill it in. Now you can stretch this and it'll get thinner. Now, I saw a boat like mine where the guy had only butyl tape holding the windows in, and it's pretty strong, but I think I'd rather have a frame around it and screwed in, especially if I get out in the ocean. You know, you just want everything strong and sealed and tight as you can get it. And it's nice not to have to go back and deal with stuff later, you know. Just do it right the first time. I made this roller out of a paint roller handle, and then I took a cutting board, one of those plastic cutting boards, and a hole saw, 2 of them, or a hole saw and a drill, and I made this roller. And I use it for just pushing the stuff down a little bit. Just work around it like this. Okay, now we get to peel the paper off. Hopefully it'll come off easily. And just take your time. You don't want to pull the window out. Actually, this stuff glues it in so tight. It'd be hard as hell to get this window out now. Just like that. Done deal. Now I just got to put the trim on, and then take the box cutter and trim around the inside and with a little on the outside. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and put the trim on, the teak trim, and it's the window frames. And I already got the butyl tape on, so I just got to peel this off and stick it on and screw it down. So we'll start with the top one. Let's peel it off. And that's why I left this a little bit of butyl tape on here, so I can see where it went before, so I can line it right back up, hopefully perfectly. Looks good. Just push it down. Ah, it looks good. Once I put those screws in, it's going to seal it good. Okay, that shouldn't go anywhere. I'm going to do the front. 4. And you can move it a little bit if you have to, but it's best if you can try to get it in there right the first time.
Looks nice, Tom.
Thank you. Make sure the edges line up. Make sure they're tight. Last piece on the bottom. Just like that. Okay, looks good. Not too bad, not too bad. Make sure that they're tight this way and the corners or edges are even. I didn't miter these because I was worried the corners were going to get wet and warp and stick up, and you can't screw the corners down on a miter piece, so I just went with this overlap. The Dutch are really good boat builders, and this is probably how they would do it, I imagine. Okay. Okay, now all I have to do is screw it in. It'll suck it all in tight, and doesn't look like I got much, if any, trimming on the outside, but I do have to trim the inside. I got all my stainless steel screws here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some butyl tape on them. So I'm just putting it around the top part. It doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. About halfway or so down. This is a stainless steel, sailor's most precious metal. Okay, now I just have to screw them in. I think I'll start with a screwdriver first. Last thing I want to do is use the drill to screw the screws in and slip and damage the teak. So I'll just do it by hand. Okay, this drill bit's a little smaller than the screws, and I'm going to go in and just a little bit, not too far. Feels like I'm pretty lined up with the other holes that are already there. I just don't want this teak to pull out back if I'm not lined up. That should do it. I'm going to start in the middle and work our way out. That's the best bet. Yeah, that's better. And there it is. It's all done. So I got all 4 windows done, and it turned out pretty good. So what I'll do later is let it set for a few days or whatever, and I'll go back and retighten all the screws, and then eventually I'll fill all those holes up with little teak plugs. But everything now is polycarbonate bulletproof glass. This boat is bulletproof. I should be able to sail her anywhere.